Hello everybody and welcome to Kerbal Space Program 0.25 Economic Boom. So this is the next episode here, and the last one we had a nice return from planet Dres. So I think in this episode, just to spice things up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and go to the Spaceplane hangar just a little bit, and we're going to mess around with some of the new components that came with 0.25. Because I do want to use space planes for a couple particular missions coming up. Maybe not necessarily the next couple missions, but definitely in the near future I'm going to use a space plane to go to one of the other bodies in this system. I'm not going to say which one yet, but I've always kind of wanted to do that mission, and I'm kind of excited to be able to do it. A little bit nervous, but anyways, we'll worry about that when we get there. For now, let's go ahead and take a look at the spaceplane hangar. We've never been here before. Here we are. Generally, I kind of tend to stay away from space planes because they kind of freak me out. I'm honestly better at controlling rockets. Space planes are kind of something that it takes me a little longer to control, and I'm still a little funky with it. So I hope that by forcing myself to learn space planes, I'll be a little bit better at them, and therefore, it won't be such a mystery to me. Now we have the usual parts: the Mark 1 cockpit and the Mark 1 inline. These came in the original Kerbal Space Program, like around 0.2 whatever something. So I'm not really going to build too much with these because you guys have probably seen all these already. So I'm going to be mainly focusing on the newest sets of spaceplane parts that came with 0.25, the economic boom. So if you take a look here, we have the Mark II cockpit. Now it says here minimum crew to operate 1. But this confused me before. It actually holds 2 crew. Crew capacity is 2. I thought it was 1 at first. And this is just an inline version, like in case you didn't want the cockpit to be the front of the spaceplane. Say you wanted the cockpit to be somewhere in the middle, I guess you would use this one. I haven't really figured out exactly how to use this one just yet. It doesn't really make much sense to me. Like, I'm not sure what you would even bother putting at the front. I mean, maybe, like, they do have, like, elongated adapters here, so maybe you could do something like that, and then something back here. I'm not really sure, again, why you'd want to build something like this, but I'm sure there's some use for it somewhere. But I'm going to be focusing on the Mark II regular, which, again, holds 2 crew. And you right-click, get some stats, mass 2, lift rating, etc. It's got SAS on it, so you don't really need to include any sort of SAS, and it's got a little bit of monopropellant. So I think in this episode, I'm going to build your basic Kerbin jetplane. It's going to be a jetplane that's capable of flying around Kerbin pretty effectively and efficiently. I tried to combine those words together, didn't work out too well. So here we'll start with this. This is a good place to start with. Heading over to the next area, propulsion. Here you'll have all your various fuselages with fuel in it. So this is like your Mark 1. This is what you would attach to the old system. As you can see, it doesn't really work too well with the Mark II. But what we do have is a bicoupler, and this does have a bit of liquid fuel and oxidizer in it. So that could be neat if you wanted to, put 2 engines on the back, which we will be using in a sec. You have adapters that go from the Mark II to the Mark 1.25. I guess if you wanted to do something like this, and I guess that if you wanted to do something like that, I suppose you could do that. Or if you wanted to slap on an engine, like to say the Rapier, you could do something like that. But I'm kind of gonna keep it within the Mark II setting. I'm not really gonna mess around with adapters just yet. Let's see, again, we have the long adapter if you wanted to have a longer type body, if you wanted like a bigger space plane. Now this is kind of confusing. Mark II is just LF plus O. That basically just means it has both liquid fuel and oxidizer. So if you wanted to build a space-capable version of this airplane, you would go ahead and slap on that one, because as you can see, it has both liquid fuel and the oxidizer. We're not going to bother with that just yet. This is its identical counterpart, the main liquid fuel fuselage, and as you can see, it only has liquid fuel. So we'll just snap that right in place right there. And I just love the way that looks. It's very streamlined. It's very, very sleek, very sexy looking, if I do say myself. And then let's see. We have monopropellant tanks. Again, in the same exact shape. It has got a little M on it in case you wanted to. I guess, again, if you wanted to make a space-capable space plane, you would use that with monopropellant. And this is what else? Mark II liquid fuel fuselage short. Again, if you just wanted a short kind of plane, say you didn't want to go this route, you wanted to make it very small and compact, you'd slap one of those on. And again, this is just liquid fuel. And they do have a short version with both oxidizer and liquid fuel. So you can see they set you up here quite easily once you get past the confusion of what each part is, of which route you want to go. If you want to go regular Kerbin plane or you want to do a space plane, they set you up. But again, for now, I'm going to do a plane that's just for bombing around Kerbin, sort of. So again, I'm going to go back to the larger one here with the 600 fuel. And right on the back of that, I am going to actually use the bicoupler, just because I think it looks neat, and it does have a little bit of oxidizer in it, but that's okay. They don't make a version of this with just liquid fuel, so we'll have to go with that. And talk about engines. We do have a wide variety of types of engines. What I'm looking for, here's the toroidal air spike. This is just like purely a rocket engine. Let's say you just wanted some rockets on there. That'll use both liquid fuel and oxidizer. We don't want these just yet. Or you could go with your standard turbojet engine. Again, these are purely just air-breathing, liquid fuel guzzling engines. I shouldn't really say guzzling because they're pretty fuel efficient. ISP is 800 in the atmosphere. That's pretty good. And you've also, of course, you get your basic jet engine, which we've all seen these before. If you wanted to make like a smaller type craft, you would use the basic jet engine with max thrust 150. The turbojet max thrust is 225, so basically a little bit stronger. But today I'm going to be using the Rapier. Stands for Reactive Alternate Propellant Intelligent Engine for Rockets. Basically stands for can switch back and forth between both air-breathing and rocket engines. I really like that idea. Basically makes making a space plane super easy. In times past, what you had to do is include both like a turbojet and a toroidal air spike engine on the same craft, and it got kind of confusing with when to use each one, and it just made the ship, you had to make big ships basically. But with these Rapier engines, it kind of takes away all that annoyingness, and it just combines it all into one awesome engine. So I'm going to go with those. Even though this isn't going to be a space plane, I just kind of like the way they look. So we're going to be using those today. Alright, next we want to talk about, I think we did finish up with all these tanks, right? Let's go to aerodynamics. So of course you got your original parts, the canards and all that good stuff, the nose cones. And now you've got your newer things. Actually, they kind of upgraded everything. You've got a smaller delta wing if you were building a smaller craft. And it tells you the lift rating over here is 0.5. Then you got your regular delta wing, lift rating 2. Got your standard connectors. Connector type B goes the other way. These are if you're making like really super huge planes and you need like a lot of different kind of surfaces to make various shapes and sizes. Type E, it's really tiny. And you can see they each have a different lift rating if you hover over them. Today I'm going to go with the regular delta wing. I like it the most. It's got the most lift rating, which means it'll fly in the air a lot more stably. I think it's a little heavier. I think that's what sacrifices mass 0.1, and the smaller one's 0.025. So it's a vast difference in mass. It's a lot heavier, but we're going to use that today. And we're just going to basically put this as far back, or pretty far back, on the craft, and I'll explain why in a second. So that's good. Next we want to actually use the elevons. I think that's how you pronounce that. The elevon 1 is a lift rating of 2.5 or 0.25, and you have to kind of rotate these around using the WSAD keys So if you slap those on there, they're kind of small. I think they don't really go too well with this design. You've got the Elevon 2.33, so it's like a third lift rating. Aye. One of these days I'll memorize which is the actual way to turn it. Nope. 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 Come on. Ah, something like that. Ah, there we go. You had to kind of finagle around with it. Again, looks a bit small for this. What I might use is the Elevon 5, actually, lift rating 0.6. As you can see, it's the biggest one. That's not right either. Oh my goodness. There we go. So the key is W, everyone. For if you're a dope like me, W will just make it the correct distance. If you're just starting from here, just hit W. Boom. There you go. All right. So that will cause the ship to basically be able to move up and down, etc. Basically control yourself. So we'll stick with that. We do need some kind of tail fin, so I am going to go over. No, I'm not going to go over. Where am I going to go? Up here. Delta Deluxe Winglet. Now it gets a little funky on the bicoupler. As you can see, it kind of messes it up, but we're going to go out basically to the rapiers and just move them out like that. It looks kind of funky, but let me see if I can push it forward a little bit. It'll basically work. It's going to work for us. Now, I'm not sure if this makes a huge difference. I saw Scott Manley do it once, but if you right-click these are mainly for yawing. You don't want them to be pitching at all, so we're going to deactivate the pitch on the tail wings. Now, of course, if I'm doing this all wrong, please feel free to comment and correct me. I would love to actually know the correct way to do it, but as far as I'm concerned, you kind of want to deactivate pitch on those, and then on these, you want to deactivate yawing. Again, I'm not sure if it matters at all. Like I said, I think I saw Scott Manley doing it, and if Scott Manley did it, then I'll just go ahead and copy that. Because he pretty much knows what he's talking about. The next couple things we have are these little wing strakes. Now it says, strakes are like sideburns for your plane. The girls will fall for you. I think if you just wanted to like kind of deck it out, give it some extra like lift rating, you would go ahead and slap these on somewhere. Again, structural type A. Again, just basically more lift rating if you wanted to change around where your lift is. Anyway, here's some important things you want to look at. You really want to toggle the center of mass, the center of thrust, and the center of lift. You want to have all three of those active, and basically you want to have the center of lift is this pink-purple one. That should be going straight through your center of mass. If it isn't, if it's off at all, you're going to basically be thrusting unevenly, and your ship will be very unstable. So that's like important thing number one. You want the center of thrust to be right through that yellow and black center of mass. The next important thing is you want the blue center of lift to generally be close to and behind the center of mass. If this is in front of the center of mass, the ship will just flip upwards and just do lots of flips, backflips basically. It'll backflip its way around and you won't be able to fly. But at the same token, you don't want it so far behind the center of mass either. So that's why we're going to come up here and grab an advanced canard, which basically you want to throw these in front of your ships basically. Because it'll give you some lift rating in the front, and it'll also move that center of lift closer to the center of mass, which is good. That's kind of what you want. Alright, let's talk about, we need some sort of intake. Now they have these old-fashioned radial air intakes, which I used to think looked so cool, but they kind of look like derpy now compared to the newest ones they added, which are these structural intakes. They can kind of be slapped on the side here, and I think those look a lot cooler than the other ones. Basically, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. You kind of slap them on here like that. Maybe like that. Something like that. I think as long as they're on the ship, maybe we'll go with it like this. And I'm just going to copy it and put a set on the bottom as well. Just to be even. I think you kind of want to make these even. You don't want to be like sucking in air from just the top and not the bottom. I think, you know, again, if I'm incorrect at any point during this, please correct me, because like I said, space planes are not my bag generally, and I'm kind of learning this as I go. So please feel free to constructive criticism, please. Don't, you know, call me a stupid asshole noob. Because, you know, I want to generally learn how to do this. Alright, anyways, you definitely need intake, otherwise the airplane won't work. You need air intake. Unless you're using rocket engines, in which case you need oxidizer. But, anyway, so that's the next step. Next, I guess we could talk about these. These are the other intakes, the RAM air intake. Let's say I decided to add on, oh, I don't know, some sort of extra set of fuselages, I guess, around the side. That's not really a good example. Let's say, you know, something like this. Then, of course, you would go ahead and use the ram scoops. It's not letting me place it because it's too close to the canard. Yeah, anyways, so you'd use them there. And I think this is the newest one. The shock cone intake is the newest one they do. Well, that fits. That actually looks pretty good. Again, that's like the newest one they added. Intake amount is 0.4 on this one. On the ram air, it's 0.2, and on the circular intake, it's also 0.2. And I'm honestly not sure what the difference is between these two intakes. It says proper turbofan intake not only provides oxygen, but pulls twice as much air than those puny air scoops from VACCO. I guess they're talking about these ones. Yeah, VACCO. These ones, although it says amount 0.5, but this is 0.2, so that's false, I guess. See, again, I'm not sure why. Intake 0.2, intake 0.5. This looks like it has more than that, but this says it has more than that. Maybe it's just BSing me, I'm not sure. And again, this high performance air intake has their own pre-compressors to supercharge air breathing at high altitude. So I guess this would be useful if you were, again, making a space plane space capable. And this one is even more, but we're not going to go that route for now. I think, like, since this is just going to be a Kerbin plane, these are fine, I think. That's all we just basically need for now. And they pull in 0.5 also. Oh, you know what it could be? The intake area. I'm looking at this under resource intake. There is 0.01 for this, 0.008. So this sucks in more air. And this is 0.012. So this is the best one, I think. This one's 0.0025. This is the smallest one. So I guess it has to do with the area that it intakes from. Okay, that's the difference then. This one's 0.006. 0.008. So I guess technically these are better, these ones, than this one. And this is the worst one of all, the puniest, I think. But we're going to use that anyway because it looks so sleek, and I think it's meant for this type of design. So we will keep that. Final thing we need is wheels. Can't take off without any sort of wheel. So let's go ahead and grab, we're going to tap the tab over, the gear bay. We didn't go over the cargo bays. We can go over that in a little bit. Basically, yeah, we'll get into that when I design a space plane, which will be, I'll make another totally different episode devoted to space planes. This is just a regular old airplane. So we'll take the gear bay and we'll stick one right in the front here. And we'll put it so that the front is facing like that. Again, not 100% sure why you want to do it like that, but it's generally more stable if you have it facing front like that one. And then back here we'll just place, we'll try to get two of them. Again, you're going to have to flip these around a bit. Here we are. That's not it either. Something like this. And these ones should go the wheel in the back, basically. And we're going to want to basically just put these, I guess, kind of towards the back, maybe. Something like that. And that should basically make the craft tilt a little bit upright. Should is the key word there. I always have to say should. Let's see, what else is vital? We're gonna also need, solar panels, just because we are going to be using power when we turn and all that good stuff like that. So we're going to put these like this. And I don't see any sort of battery that fits this design. Like, none of these really kind of make sense. Unless I'm just missing something. No, I don't think so. So we're gonna use these little batteries here. We'll just pop like 2 of them on here, and that should really do it. We don't really need much more than that. That should be fine with power like that. Let me think if I'm missing anything here. Oh yeah, you could put a little ladder. They kind of tend to get out this way, so let's see. Just extend it so we can see what's going on. However, the canard is kind of in the way. Oops. That's not what we want. Here we go. Maybe that'll work, maybe not. They might have to go out in the wing a little bit. I'm not sure if that actually is effective. They might crawl up here and then be screwed. Maybe I'll just slide it over just a touch. That might be okay. We'll test it out. Alright, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. We have the center of thrust going right through. The center of lift is behind the center of mass. We have the wings. We have these things with correctly activated thingy-mabobs. Oh, we could do action groups here. Let's see, custom 1 shall be, if we activate them, we'll do is the switch mode, basically. So when we hit 1, it'll switch between air breathing and rocket engines. Again, not really necessary now, but will be necessary in the future. Let's name this thing the Kerbin Jet Mark 1. It's a nice name for it. Let's see, what else? Lights we don't really need because these provide light down here. We could put some science on here, like, let's see, the Kerbal engineering system. Why not, right? It's always good to know, you know, basically what you're doing. And we could also put on maybe the barometer, just if you wanted to measure, take some measurements. And what else? Well, we have this sensor array, but again, there's really nowhere to put this thing. You know, doesn't make sense. You can't really slap it on anywhere. Doesn't really work too well. I guess we'll try to fit that in somewhere at some point. But essentially, this is our craft. Who do we want to go on our first flight here? Do we want the main heroes to go on the flight, or should we pick some more expendable crew in case we crash and die? Let's get Jeffme and Gertin. No offense, guys, but you know, you guys are kind of new. You can test out the Mark 1. It's kind of experimental at this moment. I'm not even sure if it'll work or anything like that, but let's test it. Here we go. We'll launch this thing. I see it's already been 23 minutes. I've been yapping a lot. So we'll just see if this thing basically gets off the ground, and we'll maybe take it for a little spin around the center here, the space center. Oh, good, it's daytime. That's always nice. And yes, as you can see, we do have a slight tilt like that, so that's very good. We'll have, I guess, surface display is important there. And we're going to just pop on the SAS, and we're going to just hit space. So there's our Rapier engine. The flames always look so cool with those things. I always thought they looked nice. Ooh, we're a little unstable here. Veering off a little bit. Ooh! Come on, get up there. Ooh, alright, wow. Woohoo! So that kind of almost killed us. So we can put the ladder back in. Put our gear bay in. But in general, let's see how this thing flies. It seems pretty stable after that little mishap. It must have had to do with our landing gear. It was probably, yeah, in fact I can see it. It's a little splayed outwards, so it wasn't exactly 100% even across the board there. I'm gonna hit caps lock, and that'll make the maneuvers a little less, you know, jerky. But, you know, all things considered, this is actually pretty stable. Seems to have enough power, enough air. Let's see the intake. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Let's see if we can get over that island over there. Again, I tried to land here once. Ooh, what's that over there? Eve Explorer. Oh my goodness, that's that's the Eve Explorer debris when we crash landed horribly and it was a disaster. We'll try to recover that. Maybe, who knows, maybe there'll be some kind of science or something stuck on there, but let's see if we can get over to that little island over there. Let's see how turning is with her. It's not too bad, actually. But with space planes, they're a little funny. You don't really want to yaw to turn too much. It just doesn't really work too well. You kind of want to roll the craft and then press S to kind of pitch it. That's generally how you want to do this sort of thing. We are going pretty fast. Just throttle it down a little bit. I don't want to be like racing in here. I feel like that's where I go wrong with space planes. I kind of just get impatient with waiting and tend to speed along a little too fast. And then, you know, bad things happen. Like I end up killing my pilots. I think a long time ago I made a space plane tutorial, and I tried to land on this runway. I ended up killing one of the astronauts. So, and it, you know, it's never fun killing your crew. You kind of want to avoid that at all costs. Just gonna throttle down. This runway is a bit tricky to land on. I haven't done it in a long time, so we're taking a bit of a risk here, boys. Just gonna throttle down to 1/3. You kind of want to come in here a little bit slowly. We'll get our landing gear out. Let's see. Kind of want to be doing where am I looking? Horizontal, vertical speed. You kind of want. You don't want it below like -10. I think you want to keep it at -10 basically. Otherwise, you kind of tend to crash if you're falling too fast. So see, at the last minute, we're gonna pull up, and hopefully, it'll make that more like -10 or something. In fact, I might just cut my engines right now, because I feel like we are still coming in quite quickly. Gotta make sure we're nice and lined up here. Alright. Maybe I'll just go at like 1%. Because you do want some sort of horizontal thrust, at least for a little bit. I never checked inside. Inside the cockpit looks pretty nice. There's the other pilot there. We'll get into that a little more later. Woohoo! We should probably pull up just a touch. Yeah, I'm just going to kill the engines right now. Try to come in there nice and easy. Ooh, lift up a little bit. Oh! Oh no. Oh no. Oh god, so in typical Hot Jupiter fashion, we have crashed the space plane and killed everybody on board. I'm probably going to get several dislikes for that. But that was my first flight ever in a long time with space planes, so I'm gonna let that one go. We'll just call that a simulation, just so we don't kill any of the crew. But that's basically how to construct a basically Kerbin air-breathing space plane. We can of course make a little bit of adjustment to that, but next time we're gonna build something a little more complicated. So until that time, we will see you later, and thanks for watching. So I couldn't bring myself to end that last episode off on such a negative aspect there. So we're going to try this one more time. We're going to get it this time. I mean, what kind of Let's Player would I be if I stooped down to that level of letting myself end missions off on such a negative, negative aspect there? But here we are coming in for one more try. I think what happened last time is I came in a little too low and had to pull up at the last second. I mean, can't stress enough how much speed really comes into consideration here. You really have to be going nice and slow. Otherwise, you're just gonna kind of bounce off the runway, and even if you hit the brakes, you'll just kind of spin out. I feel like the brakes are actually they're your friend, but they're your enemy too. Plus, again, I'm so new at this airplane thing, it's going to take me a couple tries to get good at it, but that's what this is all about. These preliminary missions are about getting used to the space planes. But here we are on our final encounter here. I have the jet engines completely off now. Just going to get the brakes ready. Coming in nice and slow. There we go. Don't flip, don't flip, don't flip. Oh, I hate when this happens. Come on. Come on. Nice and easy. Whew! Alright, so we didn't quite stay straight on the runway. Like I said, when you put those brakes on, for whatever reason, the craft just likes to spin around and all crazy if you're going too fast. And even that was too fast, obviously, but we've made it. I feel better about it, and so I feel better now about ending the episode here. So for real this time, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.